Last week we started talking about dividing decimals by whole numbers. Now we're going to move on and start talking about dividing decimals by decimals. First step, if you're given 37 and 5/10 divided by 1 and 25/100, same as with dividing by whole numbers, we have to put the first number in the division box. It is our dividend. The second number goes outside, and it is our divisor. But from this point, the regular division procedure does not work with decimals in our divisor. So we need to move to step 2, which is where we need to move the decimal point in the divisor to the right. We want to make it a whole number. So we're going to take and move the decimal 2 places to make it a whole number. Then, for step 3, since we moved the decimal in the divisor 2 places, we need to move the decimal in the dividend the same number of spaces. So we'd move it 2 spaces. However, if we move it 2 spaces, we need to annex a 0 in here to hold that spot. So once we do that, we now have 3,750 divided by 125. From there, it's just like we were doing with whole numbers. You move the decimal straight up to the line on the bracket, and then you follow your basic division procedure. So we'd start with 125. It does not go into 3 or 37, but it does go into 375. We work it out. We see that it goes in 3 times. 3 times 125 is 375. We subtract and get 0. Bring down the 0. 125 goes into 0 times, and we finish out our process. So we get an answer of 30. Now, sometimes when we do this, you're going to end up with zeros in the divisor and the dividend. Still following the same steps as before, but this time, after we move our decimals, we have extra zeros that are just going to cause confusion. So if we have this one, we need to move our decimal 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So we do the same thing to our dividend. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. We annexed our zeros in here. But once we do that, we have all these zeros here and here that we don't need anymore because they're in front of the numbers and they're in front of the decimal, and they're just going to cause extra work. So we can take those insignificant or unimportant zeros and we can just take them out, and we can rewrite the problem so that it's neater like it is here. So then you would just follow your regular division procedure. So we'd go 25 goes into 40 once. We get 25. We subtract and get 15. Drop down our 0 to get 150. 25 goes into 150 6 times. 6 times 25 is 150. We subtract to get 0. Drop down our next 0. 25 goes in 0 times. So 0 times 25 is 0. And we get a remainder of 0. So the answer to this problem is 160. So let's try a few of these together. Let's start off with 18 and 45/100 divided by 5/10.